Hello, this is Professor Kalabata, and these are some writing suggestions for the essay for Module 2. So I made another page on our Canvas website for some suggestions to help you write Module 2, and I'll just run through this. There's some notes here that you can read through. I'm not going to spend a lot of time reading through it. I'll just talk about some of the diagrams quickly. So first of all, there are two prompts. You've probably already been looking at them and you might already be writing the essay. So choice one is choose a media outlet and tell us what effect this media outlet is having on American society. So you can choose a website. You can choose some sort of journalistic media outlet, like a television network or a particular show. Or you can choose something that has a specific television show that has a prominent personality. I put some examples here, Howard Stern, Rush Limbaugh, Bill Maher, etc. So choice number two is choose a mascot. And what were the goals of those who created the mascot? Some examples: Mickey Mouse, Ronald McDonald, Joe Camel. So I hope you guys have some fun with those. And let's just look at a couple of suggestions I have. So I think this diagram is pretty relevant to the first essay prompt, but I think in fact, all the stuff I put on this page is relevant to both essay prompts. But some might be more relevant for one more than the other. But I think that what I put up here is people with good critical thinking skills are going to see sources of information as being on a spectrum of reliability. So you see over here on the left, it says more reliable. And over here on the right, it says less reliable. And there's a spectrum. So the most reliable stuff is going to be scientific, peer-reviewed, academic information, and then journalistic stuff. Journalistic stuff is not necessarily peer-reviewed, but if they're living up to journalistic standards, it still can be pretty accurate. TV network news might be journalistic, but it might be sort of starting to be a little bit more like entertainment. It depends. Although I said entertainment in a negative way, sometimes there are some forms of entertainment that can be informative as well. Remember, this is why I had you watch some of the Trevor Noah videos, which you might have felt were informative or not. But it's interesting, in recent years, there's been a proliferation of these types of shows where they mix comedy and entertainment with information. And so I actually put some notes here on the writing suggestions page down here. A few years ago, Jon Stewart, if you remember that guy, he's still around. He's a comedian, and he had his own show. In fact, Trevor Noah is now doing The Daily Show. Before, it was Jon Stewart doing The Daily Show, and Trevor Noah took over for Jon Stewart when Jon Stewart retired from The Daily Show. So Jon Stewart, Bill Maher, there's a number of these guys in recent years who are comedians and they want to make people laugh, but they're also trying to help people get informed as well. And you may like them or you may not like them. Is it a positive thing or is it a negative thing that we sometimes mix our information with humor? Maybe it helps people become more informed. Jon Stewart, Trevor Noah, they'll talk about this. They'll say, if you can get people to laugh, then they're going to pay attention to you. So it might be a positive thing. Is it a negative thing that we mix our information with comedy and entertainment? Well, I guess that's kind of one of the things you guys are writing about in this essay. Is it acceptable or is it unacceptable to mix important information with entertainment? Is it acceptable to use entertainment to try to get people to listen to you? If you're trying to entertain people, are you watering down the information? But you can see up here in the middle, we have more reliable journalistic stuff leaning over on this side, that is stuff that is more reliable information. And as we get over to this side, we have stuff that's more entertainment and advertising. And so I don't know, some people might even disagree with the way I created this diagram. I put this together myself. I did not get this from a textbook, and some people might disagree with it because, again, some forms of information that, like I said here, that is entertaining can still be over here. Well, okay, there's the debate. If something is entertaining, how can it be more reliable information? If it becomes entertaining, is it by definition becoming less reliable? Or maybe not. Maybe it's still reliable information. So, but as we get over here, less reliable information, tabloids, non-journalistic, non-peer-reviewed material. We'd probably put Wikipedia up here. Even though Wikipedia, a lot of the information can be very accurate, professors are going to tell you not to use Wikipedia in your essays because it's not going through any sort of peer review process. So it can be complicated. The more you read, the more sophisticated you get, the better you'll be at being able to put sources of information on this spectrum. Are they more reliable or less reliable? And so that's a big part of what this essay assignment is asking you to do. How reliable is the information? And also, let's see, these are the lesson notes. Something else to think about. This is the lesson notes for Module 2. I have these diagrams here. Democracy and authoritarianism. So you probably already read through this. I'll just talk about it for just a moment. I tried to make this a cyclical diagram because these different factors function in what some people might call an autocatalytic, A-U-T-O-C-A-T, oh my God, I forgot how to spell it. C-A-T-A-L-Y-T-I-C, I believe. Oh, I did that fast. I might have misspelled it, but okay. An autocatalytic reaction. That means, like if you're in a chemistry class, it means you put two chemicals together and each chemical makes the other chemical get bigger and you have some sort of explosive reaction. So an autocatalytic reaction means you put different things together and they each make the other one get bigger. So you see democracy up here, it needs this stuff, accurate information that is easily accessible in the culture, and a public, a general population that seeks out that accurate information and makes an effort to try to educate themselves so that they can make rational decisions. Because of course democracy is government by the people. So the government is only going to be as good as the quality of the people. Right? If the people are well informed and they're rational, then the democracy is going to function nicely. So democracy needs this stuff down here at the bottom of the diagram. And at the same time, if you have a public that is well informed and rational and has critical thinking skills, they're not going to tolerate somebody telling them what to do. They're going to demand to make their own decisions, which means, right, here's the other arrow, people with these qualities are going to demand a democratic system. And so you see why there's a cyclical relationship here. Down here with authoritarianism, where you have all the power in a single person's hands or a small number of hands, in order for that system to function, it needs to censor things. It needs to prevent people from getting access to accurate information, and it needs to, in order to maintain a population of people that are ignorant and that lack critical thinking skills. Another possibility is there that you might have a public, a general population that is simply apathetic and doesn't care. But whatever the situation is, either because of apathy or intellectual laziness, or because there's a system that's actually trying to prevent people from getting access to information, a population of people that have these qualities are going to tolerate or even actively support an authoritarian system. So authoritarianism needs this stuff, and people who have these qualities will tolerate or support an authoritarian system. And so again, you see, these two diagrams are sort of like, mirror images of each other, authoritarianism and democracy. So again, I think that both essay prompts, the one that's asking you to analyze a media outlet, or the other one that's asking you to look at a mascot, they're both sort of asking you to do something similar. I mean, you're thinking about, is the information, I'm being given information, is it reliable or is it not? And with Trevor Noah, as an example, I wanted you to look at, you can also write the essay on him if you want, you don't have to. But is the information he's giving us accurate? and also what effect is he having on all of this? So when you're looking at a particular show, like with somebody like Trevor Noah or Howard Stern or whatever, or if you're looking at a website, TikTok or Facebook, you want to be thinking it's giving us information. How reliable is the information, and what sort of impact is it having on these systems? Is it supporting this, or is it supporting this? So, and so I think that so that's I kind of gave a brief discussion about mostly the first essay prompt, but some of the information overlaps with the second essay prompt as well. So with the second essay prompt, you want to analyze a mascot. What sort of advertising is or propaganda is an organization using? Most of the time, a mascot. Let me try to find it again. Most of the time, a mascot is going to be like Mickey Mouse or Ronald McDonald is going to be used by a corporation or even a small family business might use some sort of advertising. But sometimes you can get something that is a political mascot as well, like for instance the image of Uncle Sam, which is a metaphor for the United States. And I'm not going to read through this again, and you can read through this. I have a discussion in here in the lesson notes about metaphors. So for instance, Uncle Sam is a metaphor for the country, for the United States. So what you want to do with both prompt number 1 and prompt number 2, but I'll talk a little bit about prompt number 2 right now. Let's see. Let me go back to here. So prompt number 2, you want to make lots of observations. Well, you want to do that with prompt number 1 as well, but just start off by making lots and lots of observations. So this was an example that I used with the lesson notes for advertising and propaganda for module 2. And I already put a lot of observations down here at the bottom. But just really quick, I mean, you probably want to do this. Get an image or a commercial, or it can even be something on the radio that you listen to, but you want to make lots of observations. What are the words we see? So just really quick, I'll just do this image. We see these words in the upper left. She'll tell you size doesn't matter. She's lying. That's an obvious sexual reference. We have a split screen. On the left, we have the cheeseburger. On the right, we have the woman in the swimsuit. She's wearing a black swimsuit. It looks like she has silver jewelry on. You notice it's a little bit more subtle in the background. She's standing in front of a car. It looks like a luxury car. It's shiny. It's black. It also has silver trim. Something else you might notice is that the clothing and the jewelry that she's wearing and the vehicle in back of her, they match. The colors match. What does that mean? How is she? The advertisement is trying to communicate to us that they are similar in some way. Why is the car and the pretty woman, why are they similar? What is that trying to say? How is she an object like the car in back of her? So this is the sort of thing you want to do. You want to have a conversation with yourself. Make as many observations as possible, and then try to do this. And again, this is for both essays, but again, you can hear the notes for the writing suggestions module 2 page, but you can read through that. But I'll just talk about this diagram really quick. You want to make detailed observations for both prompt number 1 and prompt number 2. Make detailed observations. The way you make detailed observations is you give us detail about each of the 5 senses. What does it look like? Smell, I mean, obviously with a poster or something on television, you won't necessarily smell it. But you notice with lots of advertising, especially with advertising about food, they want to give you something that is such a vivid description, or on the radio, for instance, or a vivid description or a vivid image that you can almost taste it or you can almost smell it. They want you to feel like you've walked into their restaurant and you can smell it. What does it feel like? What does it taste like? What does it sound like? So try to give us as many vivid descriptions with as many of the 5 senses as possible. And then draw conclusions. What do you think they mean? So again, going back to this image, like for instance, she's wearing the black swimsuit with the silver jewelry trim, standing in front of a black shiny automobile that also has silver trim. That's a significant observation, right? What do you see? You see that the colors are similar between the woman and the car in back of her. And then what you want to do is, so that's an observation, and then you want to try to tell us, what does it mean? Draw a conclusion. And so try to do that as many times in your essay as possible. Make as many observations as possible, and then tell us what you think the observations mean. And then what you want to do is, I've said this a couple of times, I think I said this a little bit with essay 1. You want to do synthesis. So you have your personal observations and you have quotes from the material you looked up. You want to make connections between those two things. Here's what I see, here's what I hear, and then this is what I think it means. And this connects to a quote that I looked up in one of the sources I looked up, and this is what I think the quote means, and this is how and why it connects to or illustrates a point that I'm trying to make, or this is how the quote helps me explain what I think is going on this television show or on this website or in this image with Ronald McDonald or with Mickey Mouse or with Joe Camel or whatever. Okay, so try to make lots of observations, draw conclusions from your observations, and make as many connections as possible between your personal observations and the quoted material that you're looking up. Now, I want to say one more thing. Let me go back to our homepage. So I want you to do research again for this essay assignment. And remember, we have this Ask a Librarian button here. Please use this because we have a librarian that's working with our class, and she's generating a lot of material for our class. And I'm giving her all of the essay prompts that you guys are working on, and I want her to make videos. So you can see she made a video, Essay 2 video tutorial, and scroll down. There it is. It's right there. And so here's the video tutorial. It's about a half an hour long, and you can watch that yourself. But this is a video tutorial where she took the essay prompts that I gave her, and she's going to walk you through how to do research for this essay prompt. So I think that if you watch these research videos, they basically do a lot of the work for you. So please use the research videos that the librarian is making for us. Okay, so let's see. How is information reliable? How reliable is it? How do we tell if information is reliable? What impact is this having on our democracy? And make detailed observations, draw conclusions from your observations, and do synthesis between quoted material and observations. Try to do this at least once in every section of your essay, making connections between making connections between personal observations and quoted material. And please, please, please use the librarian. Use the videos that the librarian is making for us, because I think it'll save you a lot of time in doing research, and the quality of your research will probably be better, and your grade will probably be higher as a result. Okay, so I'll be in office hours, and you can email me over the weekend if you have any questions. So I know you'll do a good job on Essay 2.